everyone, it's me. It's I. I want to talk about in-laws, particularly the relationship between mother-in-laws and their daughter or son-in-laws. And I just want to throw something out there. I know when it comes to estrangement, some parents blame their sons or daughter-in-laws for the separation or the breakup. And I want to talk about my own family history. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, had 8 children, or my grandparents had 8 children, and she had numerous sons and daughter-in-laws. In fact, she had 7 because 7 of my mom and her siblings got married, so she had a lot of sons and daughter-in-laws, and she was a wonderful grandmother. Everyone loved being around her. She was pleasant, she was kind, and she was helpful, she was generous. She always looked out for the welfare of those in our family. In fact, I remember the one time years ago when my aunt and uncle were struggling financially. My grandmother took me and a couple of other people, and we went grocery shopping and filled their cupboards up, just because that's just the way she was. She always met others' needs. But most important, she really didn't stick her nose into anyone else's business. She mostly prayed and kept watch over the family by talking to God. so, so that was her way of helping. And I don't remember her ever having a crossword, negative word. She always had an amazing relationship with all of the grandkids. I loved being around my grandmother. It was the highlight of my life. I was the second one in line out of, I think, 18 grandchildren, and 20 if you count the ones that did not survive past birth. And so my grandmother was a loving, kind, and wonderful person who I enjoyed spending time with anytime I got with her. And I also had a very loving paternal grandmother as well, who was, oh, she lived for us kids. I'm not saying, from what I heard once in a while, she said something off the cuff, so she had a different approach, but I had 2 loving grandmothers. And so in today's day and age, now we have estrangement, and I hear mother-in-laws, grandmothers, father-in-laws, grandfathers, parents who are estranged, saying very horrible and negative things about their sons and daughter-in-laws. And I'm just going to throw this out there. As much as we want to blame our sons and daughter-in-laws or say, hey, they're cold to us, it's possible that our sons and daughters are feeding their new partners, their girlfriends, boyfriends, eventual husbands or wives, with stories about their childhood, stories about us. They might not have a lot of positive things to say about us, and then our sons and daughter-in-laws are getting a picture of us from our sons and daughters, which they paint us in a not so positive light, which causes our sons and daughter-in-laws to react negatively towards us. And so I'm not saying that there aren't other players in estrangement, but if your son or daughter-in-law is not warm to you, or not warming up to you, or not open with you, or not attempting to establish a relationship, the person you need to talk with is your son or daughter, to say, hey, I just noticed that so-and-so isn't really particularly, I'm having a hard time getting to know him or her. Wondering if we can just sit down and talk and sort things out and find out what's going on, or if there's something that from your childhood that we need to talk about, or if there's something I can apologize for, if because I don't want that to affect a relationship with my potential current or future grandchildren. I do want a relationship with them. So, and maybe your son or daughter-in-law comes from a family that's different from yours, and they're not used to everyone being so close, or maybe they weren't close with their own parents, and maybe they raised themselves. We just don't know where they're coming from until we sit down and talk and find a happy medium and common ground. Um, it's just a thought. I don't know my son-in-law because my daughter estranged by the age of 19, and then she got married and had children after the estrangement and has not come back. So I haven't had an opportunity to meet him, but I would not ever lay the blame on my son. There's a common denominator, and it's our children. So that's just a thought. I would definitely not ever say anything negative about it. My son-in-law, if I met him, I would just say, hey, just something I noticed, but I would try to keep it light. So that's all there is to it. And I'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.